What's going on, everybody? Welcome into Chicago Bears Now. My name is Harrison Graham. Happy Thanksgiving, everybody. Hope it's been a great day. Hopefully, you spent time with family, friends, watched some football. First two games were awesome. I'm filming this one a little bit before halftime of Ravens Steelers. Great play to force the touchback a few minutes before I hopped on the mic by Jordan Battle, but thought I'd hop on and touch on some of the injury news from earlier today. I've been with family all day, so didn't know if I'd get to a video, but things have wound down, so thought I'd hop on for a little bit. If you want to support, if you want to show love for me, bringing you guys content on Thanksgiving Day, certainly would appreciate it. Best way to support is to hit that subscribe button. So what we're going to do is get to some final injury updates for the Bears and Eagles. And then kind of take a look at the NFC playoff picture after today's slate. With tonight's game being an AFC game, don't need to kind of really wait on that front because we know where things sit. We'll talk a little Packers-Lions as well. Okay, welcome back, Jaylon Johnson and Kyler Gordon. Did a little YouTube short for you guys earlier. They have been officially activated. The Bears placed Luke Newman on IR and waived running back Britton Brown to make room for Jaylon and Kyler on the 53. Kind of felt like this was going to happen, but now it is official, and it's great news, right? I mean, these are two of your top, 3 defensive players on your team. Jaylon played 20 snaps in week 2. That's the only run he's gotten all year, had surgery, has battled to get back, and Kyler Gordon's played in 2 games. Has dealt with multiple soft tissue injuries. So, A, it's great to have him back, and B, you hope they stay back and they stay healthy and they're able to play the rest of the year. And if they can, this team and this defense could be pretty damn good the rest of the way because this defense has obviously been very feast or famine, right? I mean, they get a ton of takeaways. They lead the NFL in takeaways, but otherwise they do give up a lot of yards. They do give up a decent amount of points. So can Jaylon Johnson get back and at least be close to his normal self? I don't know if we should expect him to be lockdown corner Jaylon Johnson from snap one. But if he can be 80-85% of what he normally is, and if Kyler Gordon can be a Swiss Army knife that can do some different things, that would be huge, especially with how thin the Bears are at linebacker yet again. We'll talk about that coming up in a second. But it'll be interesting to see how Dennis Allen deploys these guys. Is Jaylon Johnson full go? Because we'll get to it in a second, but Tyreek Stevenson isn't playing, so it's kind of good time because you've got Jaylon Johnson, and then you can go with Nashawn Wright, who's played pretty well, as your other outside corner. The question is, will Jaylon Johnson get the full slate of snaps, right? Or will there be a bit of a rotation? We'll have to wait and see. And then with Kyler Gordon, how is he on a snap count? And if he's not, how do you mix and match with Kyler, or not Kyler, how do you mix and match Kyler Gordon with CJ Gardner-Johnson, who's obviously come in, played well, done his thing since signing with the Bears? You would think Dennis Allen could get creative. You could kind of play, some formations where one of those guys really playing like more of a true linebacker. You could bring Jaquan Brisker up into the box as a hybrid linebacker and play one of those guys at safety. So going to be very interesting to see how they kind of make that work. But these are two guys that, when they're healthier, are two of your better players. So you need them to be on the field. 5 players have been ruled out for Chicago in this one. TJ Edwards, 4th straight game he's going to miss with that hamstring and that hand injury. I mentioned Tyreek Stevenson. Okay timing there. He's been a little banged up. You get Jaylon back, Tyreek's out. I don't think that's the end of the world for this one, but obviously, big picture, you'd like to have him healthy and give yourself more options at outside corner. Dominique Robinson in the concussion protocol. Hopefully it's only 1 game missed. Noah Sewell and Ruben Hippolyte. So with Edwards, Sewell, Hippolyte all out, and Tremaine Edmonds on injured reserve, you are once again down 4 of your top 5 linebackers. So DeMarco Jackson, who led the team with 15 tackles last week, he's your LB4. And Eamon Ogbongbemiga, who's your LB6. Look for those 2 guys to be your leading linebackers, with Carl Jones Jr. Rotating in. You've also got Jalen Reeves-Maybin, who was elevated from the practice squad for this one, so he'll be an option, and he'll play on special teams some. And then lastly, The Bears also elevated offensive lineman Jordan McFadden because remember, with Luke Newman going on IR, you need another offensive lineman up. Good news is Theo Benedict's good to go, whether it's him or Ozzie Trapillo starting. The other guy is quality depth. I would guess Ozzie starts, but we will have to wait and see. Also, Javon Dexter, good to go. He popped on the injury report yesterday, but he was listed as a full participant today when it came to the injury projections, which was just estimations because the Bears did a walkthrough today. All right, more to discuss here in just a moment, but got to tell you guys about today's show sponsor. That is PrizePicks. Appreciate PrizePicks for sponsoring today's show. It's the holiday season, the best time of year for sports. Got a lot going on right now. Bowl games around the corner, basketball matchups, playoff pushes. It's all happening at once. And while you and I are out here making decisions every day, what gifts to buy, what to eat, big Thanksgiving meal earlier, which games to watch, there's one place where it feels good to be right. That is PrizePicks. I don't know about you guys, but I've had the season from hell in my season-long fantasy football league. That's why I like playing PrizePicks better. I don't have to worry about being stuck with certain players. I can try different players all the time. New lineups, fresh players every single day. Just pick 2 or more players regardless of sport. That's another feature. You can cross over sports. Pick more or less in their stat projections, and you are good to go. How you play is up to you. If you want to have flexibility, go with the flex play option, where you can miss up to one time and still get paid even if one of your picks misses. And if you want the biggest payouts, go for the power play. No matter how you play, PrizePicks is a great way to put your takes to the test. New feature alert, by the way, PrizePicks now has early payouts. If your lineup gets off to a hot start, you might now have the option to cash out those winnings before the game even finishes. So another cool feature with PrizePicks. Check out PrizePicks today. Download the PrizePicks app. Use our code CLNS to get $50 in the lineups once you play your first $5 lineup. That is code CLNS to get $50 in the lineups once you play your first $5 lineup. PrizePicks, it is good to be right. Okay, on the Eagles side of things, Devontae Smith is good to go. So I guess the illness was the bigger issue than the chest and shoulder injuries that had contributed to him missing the last 2 days of practice. But he does not have a game designation. He is going to play. So Eagles will be with their top 2 receivers, Smith and A.J. Brown. As expected, Lane Johnson and Andrew Makuba are both out. So their starting right tackle and starting safety are going to be out. Sidney Brown, who's going to fill in at safety, he's a guy who kind of plays 100 miles an hour. So if you can, I think there will be opportunities to get him on double moves, right? So that'll be an interesting area to attack if you are Ben Johnson and Caleb Williams downfield. And obviously, with Lane Johnson out, Montez Sweat, you got to be looking for your opportunities, man. You're going up against a swing tackle. I think that's an area you gotta win. You got to get home to Jalen Hurts. Obviously, you got to have gap rush integrity, as he's someone who can escape the pocket and make some different things happen. But that's got to be a spot where the Bears can get some mismatches with Lane Johnson not playing. All right, a little bit of an NFC North update. So the Packers beat the Lions in Detroit 31-24. Green Bay improves to 8-3-1. They're a half game back of Chicago in the NFC North, whereas Detroit falls to 7-5. And I was kind of going back and forth all week. I actually think this is the better outcome because it knocks Detroit down a peg. And the reason for that is, let's say the Bears lose to Philly tomorrow. Hopefully that does not happen, but let's say it does. That means the Bears, as I pull up the standings here, are still ahead of Detroit. You know, Detroit 7-5. If the Bears were to lose, they'd be 8-4. And if the Bears win tomorrow, they're still ahead of Green Bay. But you've kind of knocked Detroit down a peg. They beat the Bears head-to-head the first time around. So, whereas with Green Bay, you play them twice in the next 3 weeks. So, you know, you control your destiny more so in that matchup. So I think this is probably the better way. You know, it's kind of a give and take regardless of who won those games. Obviously, if the Bears lose tomorrow, the Packers would jump into first place, but Chicago would still be in a good position in the NFC playoff picture. Overall, they would be 8-4, which would be tied with San Francisco. And I think the 49ers, let's see who they play. They still have their bye week coming up. They play the Browns on Sunday on the road. You'd think Browns, that's going to be an easy win. Kyle Shanahan is 1-8 against Jim Schwartz, the Browns defensive coordinator, as an OC or a head coach. And it's going to be cold and wet. Brock Purdy in those conditions. I actually think the the Browns have a decent chance to win that game. Now, obviously, we're hoping that the Bears beat the Eagles tomorrow. I'll get to my final prediction here in just a little bit, but I think knocking Detroit down a peg was probably the best outcome possible. And don't look now, Dallas has won their third straight. They beat Kansas City to improve to 6-5-1. I think you got to consider them in the mix in the wild card picture. And I'll say this too, if the Bears beat the Eagles, Dallas is only 2 games back of Philadelphia in the NFC East. So that all of a sudden tightens up a little bit as we kind of hit the stretch run. All right, here you go. You ready for it? My final prediction of Bears, Eagles, now that we have the injury notes for both teams, this and that. I don't know what it is. I'm going with the Bears. Maybe this is a reckless pick. Maybe I'm going to regret this by halftime. Who knows? Conventional wisdom would say, okay, ugly loss for Philadelphia last week, blowing a 21-0 lead. They're returning home, defending champs. You'd think they'd be angry, motivated, all that stuff. And I don't even disagree with all that. But there's just something telling me that I like the Bears' chances here. It's not who you play, it's when you play them. We talk about that all the time, and I don't like how the Eagles are playing offensively. Lane Johnson being out's a big deal. Bears getting Kyler and Jaylon back is a big deal. I think the Bears can have enough offensive success against Philadelphia to keep this game tight. I'm going Bears 24, Eagles 23. The Bears are a 7-point dog. It's held firm there all week. Over-under has set firm at 44.5. So I'm going slightly over, and obviously I'm going with the Bears not only to cover but to win. Maybe this will blow up in my face, but I just there's something telling me that the Bears have a decent shot to win this game. So I want to hear from you guys. Drop those score predictions down in the comments below. I hope everybody had a fantastic Thanksgiving. We will be live tomorrow for Bears Eagles, 12:45 Central Time with the game at 2 o'clock Central. Hopefully you'll subscribe and join us. And until then, bear down, everybody.